Marina Alexis. She should be a writer.
Throughout most of Pretty Little Liars' run, the quartet of Aria, Emily, Hannah, and Spencer made up the core group of liars. It's undeniable, however, that by Season 5, Alison DeLaurentis became the official fifth member of the group. Not only did she return to the show full-time, but she gained inclusion in the promotional posters and intro, and Sasha was included in interviews and media circuits with the main cast. That said, debate has persevered for years about whether or not Allie could truly be considered the fifth liar, and an equal to Aria, Emily, Hannah, and Spencer. The term liars refers to the bond and friendship between the girls just as much as it is used in reference to the main characters of the show. Considering her role on PLL and her relationships with the four original liars, can Alison truly be considered the fifth liar? I've always felt strongly that the answer is no. Here's why. One of the most meaningful aspects of the liars' friendship was the support they showed each other over the course of the show.
Is there someone in your life who cares about you? And I'm happy for you, no matter who they are.
Aria, Emily, Hannah, and Spencer each demonstrated moments in which they needed the advice and kindness of their friends, and each also displayed that same support in return. When Caleb broke up with Hannah at the start of Season 3, she went straight to Aria for comfort. When Aria was depressed over her parents fighting and the reveal of her dad's affair, Hannah offered her advice and lifted her spirits.
You need to get out of the house. We will have an amazing time tonight.
There was a reciprocal nature to the girls' friendship, in which no one was constantly either the supporter or the one in need of support. When it came to Alison, however, the give and take vanished. We see an abundance of moments in which the liars offer their support, comfort, and advice to Allie, to the point that, at times, it begins to verge into the territory of coddling.
Alison, where is she? Where's Allie?
What sets this apart from their dynamics with each other is that this support is almost never reciprocated. There are almost no scenes that show Allie offering any kind of comfort, advice, or even just a shoulder to cry on to any of the girls, especially Hannah, Aria, or Spencer.
I'm gonna be sick. God, when she panics like that, I can't even think.
While she was all too happy to be on the receiving end of their sympathy and reassurance, she never actually offered it in return. And what's more, the liars never seemed to actually seek her out for it, even in situations where she would have been the most logical choice. When Spencer found out that Mary Drake was her biological mother, she did not go to Allie, who knew exactly what it was like to have a screwed-up family tree, for advice. When Hannah broke off her engagement with Jordan, she went to Aria and Mona for support instead of Alison, who had also recently ended a relationship. Even Emily chose to seek out Spencer and Hannah after making the horrifying discovery about her eggs, even though Alison would have been the natural person for her to commiserate with. What this indicates to me is that the liars never went to Alison for support or comfort because they didn't feel comfortable doing so.
Do you need anything else? Shauna tried to kill Ezra. And she would have killed all of us if you didn't stop her. Do you need anything else?
While Allie had no one else, and therefore needed to rely on them for all of her emotional needs, they didn't need her. They had each other. Another major component of the liars' bond was the fact that, despite the traumatizing circumstances they underwent on a day-to-day basis, not once did the idea of leaving Rosewood and abandoning the others ever occur to them. Even Emily, when given the opportunity to move halfway across the country in Season 2, refused to do so.
I could stay with a friend, and then join you and Dad in June.
The friendship between the four girls could truly be defined as ride or die. Though they had their moments of arguing and conflict, they ultimately put the group as a whole before anything. It's hard to accept Alison as a true, equal liar when she watched her friends be tormented by A for 2 years without intervening, returning to join them, or providing information.
Do you know who A is?
Of course I do.
Additionally, when Alison finally did return to Rosewood, her first reaction upon A's reappearance was to pack up and run away once again, abandoning the liars to both deal with A without her and clean up the mess she'd made with her kidnapping lies.
I'd love to stay, Hannah, but I can't. Not while that psychopath is still out there.
Alison's willingness to leave her friends behind, and her seeming complete disregard for how those actions would affect them, create another major difference between Alison's dynamic with the girls compared to their feelings toward each other. I want to discuss one last crucial quality of the bond between the core four liars, the trust that they held for each other. There were missteps along the way, such as Aria initially refusing to believe that Zach had sexually harassed Hannah.
You're the problem, Hannah. You're always the problem.
Largely, though, the girls trusted each other sometimes more than they trusted even themselves. Even when Spencer herself was convinced that she could have hurt Alison in Season 4, the other liars never entertained that A's suggestions could be true. That trust, however, was never extended to Alison, even when she was officially considered the fifth member of the group. From fully believing that she could be A, to suspecting her as the new A in season 6, to pegging her as Charlotte's killer, the liars were far more willing to turn their back on Allie than they ever would be to each other. Whether or not you feel their accusations and distrust was justified is irrelevant in this context. When it comes down to it, regardless of their reasoning, it's hard to truly see Allie as the fifth liar when she was constantly in a state of conflict with the girls.
I know exactly who you are, A.
Pretty Little Liars was full of massive, game-changing events that shook the liars to their core and bonded them even closer together. From their trek to find Dr. Sullivan to the masquerade ball, from the Halloween train to the dollhouse, A's most intense game of all time, the four liars went to hell and back together more than once. And it was ironically A's traumatizing and ongoing reign of terror that pushed them closer and closer together. Despite the fact that she's been officially labeled the fifth liar, Alison is missing from almost every major event on the show. She was not only absent from the first 4 seasons, but even after her return, the only big events that she experienced with the liars were New York and, arguably, Jenna's attack at the school for the blind. It's hard for me to accept Alison's role as a liar when she wasn't actually with the other girls for events such as Charlotte's A reveal, Hannah's kidnapping, and particularly the dollhouse. Ironically, considering her past as A, it was Mona who played more of a fifth liar role in the show's major plot points. The liars' friendship is convincing and deep because of all that the girls experienced together, and when Alison was not a part of the majority of those experiences, I have trouble viewing her as an equal to them.
The past several years haven't been easy for any of us, but what makes it okay is that we stick together.
I want to give one story in particular a point of discussion all to itself, because of its heavy implications on her relationship with the liars. For many fans, Alison trying to convince the liars to testify on behalf of Charlotte, the woman who tortured, kidnapped, and traumatized them, was what cemented their belief that Allie was not truly the fifth liar.
I don't care if you forgive her. I'm asking you to give me my only chance at a real family.
It's impossible for me not to agree with this when I rewatch Alison completely disregarding the girls' feelings towards Charlotte, pouting when Arya had what appeared to be an episode of PTSD while testifying, sending them a tone-deaf good news text upon Charlotte's release, then proceeding to throw them all under the bus for Charlotte's murder.
You asked me if I thought my friends had anything to do with Charlotte's murder.
Do you want to change your answer?
Yes.
While Alison's desire to have a family again may be understandable, her unwavering support for the former A, and the ease with which she turned on her so-called friends, clearly set her apart from the core 4, both metaphorically and literally.
Friends? Have you heard from Alison at dinner? Have you? Alison is not looking to make any more friendship bracelets.
Outside of these main plot points, there were numerous small moments throughout the course of PLL that indicated the liar's true feelings toward Alison.
Maybe she's making it up. I mean, it is Alison we're talking about.
Pay close attention to the way Spencer describes their friendship to Toby at the start of the time jump.
When Alison flashes the bat signal.
It's not like that, we're still friends, and we're not just, let's go see a movie and have dinner kind of friends. We're the, I saved your life, now you saved mine kind of friends.
This displays that Spencer, at least, didn't view Allie as a normal friend that she genuinely wanted to be around, but as an obligation. Alison saved her life, so Spencer didn't feel she could cut her off completely. Even throughout the last few seasons, when Alison was supposed to be the official fifth member of the group, small comments still snuck their way in here and there regarding the way that the other girls viewed and perceived her.
You didn't tell Allie about Spencer's tapes, did you?
When compared to the way they spoke of and described their friendships with each other, the contrast is stark.
You will have kids. You will have kids. Spencer will have kids. I will have kids. And we will all have beautiful babies.
The last reason that I struggle to view Alison as the actual fifth liar is logistical more than anything else. Spencer, Hannah, Emily, and Arya appear in every episode of every season of the show. Alison, however, is absent from at least 2 or 3 episodes every season, even after her return. It's difficult for me to accept Allie as an equal to the other 4 girls when she disappears for entire episodes at a time, with only a weak excuse, or none at all, given for her absence.
So Alison's at the Rollins family farm in eastern Pennsylvania.
Allie can't come. She had to go out of town.
Yeah, she's away for the day on a school field trip.
Why'd she go away again? Allie has something to deal with.
Alone, this wouldn't be more than a blip on the radar, but on top of everything else I previously described, it just adds to the noticeable differences between Alison and the core 4 liars. Overall, although Alison may have been added to the intro and the posters, and although she was officially included in the friendship between the girls, I can't truly see her as an actual liar. Even after the writers seemed to settle on making her a part of the bond, the differences between her and the other girls were just too obvious to disregard. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments whether you consider Alison to be the real fifth liar.